Get out my business. Nani? Okay.
Things we forgot to tell you last week. Basically, this is going to be a quick rundown of all the things we forgot to tell you last week. We're going to be starting off with Jake Paul. For all you guys that don't know, Jake Paul is this internet famous influencer, vlogger. He's America's favorite asshole, if I want to be honest and frank. Him and his brothers are responsible for the whole finding bodies in suicide forest in Japan. They've been known to throw 100,000 people parties during the coronavirus pandemic. They had water shut off to their house, I believe, because they wouldn't stop throwing parties. And now the younger brother of Logan Paul, who's Jake Paul, has now been accused of sexual assault by a TikToker. She goes into details into her story. The Independent came out this story. I first learned about this story on the internet. I don't really know what to make of this since we don't have all the details, and furthermore, we don't have any like outstanding proof or anything like that. But it can be confirmed that she was in the building and that she did tell this to her best friend Eric. I don't know. What do you think about this?
I got a couple thoughts. First one is only the absolutely most deplorable human beings take what they could get for free. If a person says nah, they're not feeling it, you back off. It's plenty. If you throw 100,000 people party, this one human being telling you no, you can go, okay, cool, and that's it. Why do you have to? Why do you have to put this person in a situation? Put yourself in a situation to do this again. You're nobody special, and then if this allegation is true, you just traumatize somebody and you potentially damage her for the person that she actually wants to be with. Like this, I'm never gonna be for that kind of behavior. That's just unacceptable.
Totally. Our next story, Eric, this is your favorite 5-year-old. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, so there's a 5-year-old boy who was arrested. He left school. He threw a basketball at his teacher and knocked over a computer. Walked out of the school. First of all, I don't know how a 5-year-old is able to just walk out of a school. That's the first problem. Second problem, he's stopped by the police. They grab him, handcuff him, put him in the car, take him back to school. He's crying incessantly. A female cop gets in his face and screams back at him. They're saying they don't think the boy was spanked by his parents, and they said, well, he should be beat. And the mother shows up, doesn't spank the kid because she doesn't want to go to jail for abusing her child. She doesn't want her child to become a product of the system. And yet, somehow, he's still a product of the system because they arrested him. They laughed and taunted the boy. You know what these are? Showing him handcuffs. Hey, these are for people who don't act right. And, this is your future is what they told him. Handcuffs was his future at 5 years old. I got serious issue with that. Hope the cops are fired. I hope, man, that's all I'm going to say. What you think, bro?
I mean, for me, this screams of so many things, but more importantly, it screams of the lack of compassion that is given to black people in general when it comes to dealing with law enforcement. The first thing I thought of when I saw this kid walking down the street, because the officers picked him up not knowing where he was from or what's going on, the first thing that I came to my mind immediately was, is someone hurting him at school? Did something happen to him at school that made him feel he couldn't go back to it? And when he then told the officer, I don't want to go back to school, instead of meeting him with compassion, you met him with aggression. It starts early for our kids. Our kids get targeted early and often, but we're going to wait and see what the updates are on this, and we'll come back to this story. But a little bit on the lighter side, Ted Nugent, I don't know if a lot of you guys know who this is. He's no one significant to you if you don't know much about like country rock or whatever. But basically, this is a major Trump supporter who had a really serious question about why there wasn't a COVID-18. And Eric, with you and your infinite knowledge, could you please explain to Ted Nugent why COVID-18 isn't real?
Because COVID, the coronavirus, which is what COVID is an abbreviation for, was the strain that we have came out in the end of 2019, hence the name COVID-19. That's what the government does when they name things. They name it based on an acronym and the year in which it was discovered. Ted Nugent, you're a little too old to be that stupid.
But a lot of people can take what they want from this. As a person who was an avid Trump supporter and definitely repeated a lot of the rhetoric about wearing masks and being mad about the lockdown and shutdown, if you're wondering why it took us so long to get back to normal, there's Ted Nugent for you. Okay. An update this happened last week. We had a shooting at Knoxville, Tennessee, Magnet School in Tennessee. We have one suspect who is now deceased, who was shot by an officer. That suspect had shot an officer in the leg. He reportedly brought a weapon into the school and stayed in the bathroom, supposedly waiting for somebody, and then when he accidentally ran to someone else, it was brought to the teacher's attention, so forth and so on. And to tell you the truth, this is on the quickie because this is so insignificant right now based on what's going on in the country. I don't know, Eric, what do you think?
Now I'm kind of in agreement with you. I do have a question. Why did who was the boy waiting on, and why was he waiting on him? And where is this kid's parents? Gosh, where are the parents?
And there's a lot about this story we won't get to know because he was a minor. So I'm just curious to know, like, this isn't going to be the thing that makes us say, hey, we need to enact some common sense gun laws. So I'm just gonna, every time I see one of these, are we not all in consensus that we need to do something, because doing nothing is clearly not working. An update to the Derek Chauvin case. The prosecution is finally rested after 12 days, and I think they had a strong closing argument. The evidence they've presented is almost irrefutable. It's incredible to think of what the defense is going to do. And of course, their first witness was some old slickback detective who wrote a book for propaganda on how police brutality isn't really a thing. So good luck to the defense, because we already know what their point is. Basically going to say Derek was too worried about the crowd to be worried about the person he was murdering. So is America. I don't know. Eric, what do you think?
I watched the entire body cam footage from start to finish after the MPD released it, and they had the man in the car. Don't take him out of the car. Once you handcuff him, you get him in the car. If he's claustrophobic, crack the windows. Simple. If you're worried about the crowd wasn't an issue until you got him out of the car. There was a couple people, because it's a convenience store. So if you would have left him in the car, took him downtown, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Doesn't mean that I agree with the way with George Floyd or anything that he did. That's irrelevant to me. What he did does not excuse or negate what the officer did. And again, who's training these people?
The next story on our miserable quickie docket is going to be another story that we missed. The authorities for the NFL, Phillips Adams, killed 5 people and himself. This story is still ongoing. Once again, this happened towards the end of the week, and it's so insignificant because of all the things that are going on right now. I don't know what his situation was. I believe the physician he murdered was a neuro scientist.
Yeah, he was suffering from CTE.
He definitely had a history of CTE, and this is a consequence of us not taking these things serious. When I tell people, I'm not letting my young ones play football, they look at me crazy, and it's just like, I got off lucky. But we'll follow up on this story when the time comes. You hate to see that this is what happened. You almost think that he kind of went there hoping that this doctor was going to fix him, and when the doctor couldn't fix him, he took his frustrations out on him. So it's sad to see this, but more importantly, he was able to go get a gun without any barriers. And that has to be an issue. Shout out to Illinois for extending Medicaid for coverage of 1 year, up to 1 year postpartum. For all you people that don't know, that's for the moment from the conception of the child all the way up into 1 year. The medical bills will be covered for that, and I think that's pretty cool. Illinois is the first one to do it. It's really progressive. It speaks to the sense of what is needed to help people in these struggling times. So you love to see that. The next story, Eric's gonna be upset about this one, but J&J has decided to halt their vaccines, but also the CDC has removed their emergency use. Eric, what are your feelings on this?
Well, I'm somewhat relieved because I was going to go get the J&J shot. And now I got to pause for the cause, like they paused the production of this vaccine. So I really did not want to get the 2-step. I'm going to wait and see what happens, but I may end up getting this after all the smoke clears. I really don't want to get 2 shots. So, yeah.
A lot of people, hey, what's up from Slovakia? What's good? Shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now. We're gonna get to you guys in a second, but the one thing you should know about the J&J shot, this is the process that's supposed to happen, because the conspiracy theorists are going to be coming out the woodwork. This is how the process is supposed to work. We see an issue, we correct it, and we make a difference. There's even some people going out on a limb saying that stopping the outflow of the virus just for 6 people, even though 7 million people have already received it, is kind of a knee-jerk reaction. DC, Washington, D.C., and all of the East Coast is going to resume sign-up trials, and the UK is going to resume sign-up trials on Friday. But I do think there's a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. The six blood clots that were found, and the one that killed one lady, these were in elderly individuals who had already had a mass production of a lot of medical history. So I'll be interested to see how this really comes out. But I think the CDC, in their abundance of caution, 6 people versus 500,000. What's more important? Not from an inhumane person. Everyone's life is important, but we got to think about the greater good. And if we can isolate this issue, that's going to be super great. And the sooner we do it, the better off we'll be. Eric, how much do you think I'm worth on a slave auction?
You big as you are, bro. They paying top dollar for you, bro.
So unfortunately,
and you don't get to have a wife. You are a buck. You get bread.
Oh, excellent. So I'm be in these streets. But unfortunately for us, the tragic situation here is a bunch of 9th graders thought it would be cool to get on the Snapchat app and have a auction on their black classmates with all the white students. So an investigation took part where black students in their classroom were being sold between $1 and $100. And the things that could get you doxxed is not having good hair. And I like to just remind people, this is a reason why that 5-year-old kid might have wanted to leave school. You feel me? Because this might have been happening to him. I want to remind people that this wasn't taught to them. This wasn't something they just woke up and did. This is something that they were
nature.
Taught. Yeah,
this is nurture.
You feel me? I want to also just state, when we fail to have adult conversations about race, this happens. When we fail to really just as adults say, hey, look, we're going to talk about some tough topics, and the reason why we have to do it is so that you guys understand the gravity of situations. And when we don't do that as adults, this happens. So I don't know how you feel about this, Eric, but go for it.
Where did you learn this behavior? That's always my question. Number 2, where are your parents? Number 3, why aren't they watching what you do? I'm serious. I have friends. I have employees, friends, a lot of parents. You know what they have installed on their kids' phone? They have a special app that cannot be installed, that cannot be worked around. You cannot use a VPN to block it, and they can monitor every single thing. They can block websites, they can block apps. You cannot download certain things onto the phone. Why are you just giving your kids carte blanche to be able to do whatever they want? I said, when I was a kid, my grandma said, a night of mine's a devil's workshop. When you got free reign to do whatever it is that you want, and your parents aren't monitoring it, you're going to say and do whatever you want, ultimately to the detriment of somebody else. And this is the issue. People get so caught up with themselves. You're just conditioning the next generation to care less and less about another human being. And I have a serious issue with that. So we need to find out a little bit more about the story. But I'm always going to ask the question that I've asked. It seems like I'm asking this for the 3rd time. Where are their parents?
In this rare situation, I'm not opposed to believing that some of these parents encouraged this and even made bids themselves. I'm not opposed to it, but we'll catch up and look. We'll see into this story in the future, and we'll come back to this if there's any updates. This story right here kind of grabbed my attention. Just if anyone in the chat can see anything wrong with this picture, what you're currently looking at is a daycare facility where it appears to be 4 kids to each table, and they're in the middle of lunchtime. And if you just focus on this kid right here, this kid right here, this kid right here, they all have something in common. And if you're thinking they're black, that's just one of it. More importantly, is they don't have any food in front of them, while the vast majority of their kids, their peers, do. And this would be a story I couldn't really make fun of if it wasn't for the fact that this adults in the room are walking around and not presenting food. This went on for about 4 to 5 minutes before this girl was served first. So it's kind of scary to see this, because in the grand scheme of things, these are kids that did absolutely nothing. These were kids that just woke up with their finger in their nose and 3 objectives: laugh, poop, and sleep. And for some reason, they're being subjugated to adult level type terrorism. Like, this is crazy to me. Eric, what do you think?
I don't want to say it's terrorism. I just want to call it stupid. I mean, think about this. You're adults. You're being recorded. And yet you think, oh, it's the middle of the day, parents are probably working. Nah, it's a lot of parents still working from home. They just need the house quiet because they can't give undivided attention to a 3-year-old. That's why they paid you $1,000 to $2,000 a month to make sure their kid got 2 meals, got to play with toys, and got to go poop and nap. But you think this is cool. I'm going to feed certain kids first, and then other kids get to eat last. I mean, this is like, I don't know, bro. It's weak. I can't even stomach the energy to be upset about how stupid this is.
The thing that I always will push people to understand when dealing with these type of situations is that you have to, like, in today's day and climate and day and age, little things like this could be brushed off, but not in today's day and age where everything's recorded. You got to do better. You got to know better. Every one of them have been fired, and the state has taken an investigation into the 3 women for hopefully they're reviewing all of the footage to hopefully find no sign of abuse. Kansas City Chief Brett Reed, who is Reed.
You're talking about one of the coaches, Brett.
Yeah.
Reed.
He finally has been arrested after 2 months after having an accident where he was intoxicated, traveling 84 miles per hour, crashed into a vehicle, causing permanent damage to a young child. He's finally being arrested and charged with DWI, which is technically a slap on the wrist. Eric, why did it take 2 months for him to get charged with something?
I mean, it's either the ineptitude of the Kansas City police, or they just wanted to let the Chiefs get through the Super Bowl before they made a big stink about it. It was real hush hush. Now it's all resurfaces and everything miraculously came out. You knew he was going 84 miles an hour. You knew he was intoxicated. You knew this 2.5, 3 months ago. It just seems it's just the police ineptitude. Hey, the city's trying to do something for the Hunt family. They went to the Super Bowl. Yada yada yada. Whatevs. I'm not with it.
Hey, and that's one way to look at it, but ultimately what we want to see is immediate justice. This family has been mourning and trying to find justice for the last 2 months while dealing with trying to heal their daughter. The fact that they were in the middle of a Super Bowl doesn't have any bearings on the fact that she will never be able to walk anymore. And, karma's a bitch. You think about how they got defeated. You think it might be something weighing on their conscience. But our last topic, what is it? Ramadan, y'all. So I haven't eaten all day. Shout out to all the Muslims out there. They've started their fast. Basically, for the next 30 days, they're not allowed to basically eat from sun up to sundown whenever the sun's present. So if you see a Muslim person and you're feeling for them, give them a pat on the back. If they're giving you some trouble, if they're a little cranky, just know they're not like a terrorist. They're just hungry. Relax. But shout out to all the Muslims out there taking one of the 5 pillars of Islam is to fast. So congratulations to all those people that are going to be enduring those cool things, and try and be sensitive. Don't eat in front of your Muslim friends, or at least if they exclude themselves from something, don't be like, oh, My bad. And shout out to Eric. Shout out to Eric too for hanging with me. He's fasting with me.
Yeah, man. I see what people don't know, man. I do keto intermittent fast, and I fast between 16 to 20 hours a day, depending on the day. Heero just happened to catch me on the. This is gonna be a 20-hour fast for me today, so I'm already getting the sweats because my blood sugar is low, but I got my water bottle. As soon as we're done with this episode, listen, y'all think we playing around tonight? There's gonna be no booth after dark tonight. There's gonna be a break fast after dark. I'm telling you that right now.
Yo, and real quick, so thank you guys so much for joining us for the things we forgot to tell you last week. It's just our quick little segment. We'll get into it. But Eric, where can they find us and what we doing?
Hey, listen, you can find us right here on YouTube, man. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. We love thumbs up. If you don't like what we're doing, hit the thumbs down. We take that too, man. Go in that comment section and tell us all the reasons why you love or hate us. We welcome it. I got all the smoke for you, I promise. Hit that share button. If you love us, share it. Tell people why. If you hate us, share it and tell people we're trash. We appreciate it. Then make sure right after you do that, help us send some kids to college by clicking on that run sign up link. Man, we're trying to raise 20 bands for some graduating seniors at TF North High School. We got two amazing coaches, Altenberg and Russo. We're running 24 miles in 24 hours, raising money. We will be broadcasting that live on May 7th. So stay tuned and be in the building for that. You feel me?
Definitely. You gotta take care of yourself.
I hope that's inside. Slow it down and we can catch the vibe. But it's so hard to find through the daily grind. We're working overtime. And I'm sleep deprived, shorty